Hi, everybody. My latest caregiving conversations with caregivers talk about the question of what are the joys and the struggles of giving up your life to care for an elderly parent or a spouse. I'm Pamela D. Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. On my website, a lot of helpful information for caregivers and aging adults. And in this video post, there is a link to a page called Juggling, Caregiving, and Life, and the Stresses of Being a Caregiver. Many caregivers toy with the idea of caregiving responsibilities and time and how all of that affects family relationships and life. Is there ever a balance between work and caregiving? Is there a balance between being happy and caregiving? Caregiving, as most of us know, can be extremely rewarding, extremely joyful. It can give our lives meaning. On the other hand, caregiving can be stressful. What many families don't think about when there is a consideration of having an adult child, or if you are that adult child caregiver, trading caregiving for a career. What happens in many family situations is a caregiver will give up a job to become a caregiver for an elderly parent. And the years pass, and they pass, and they pass. And much to the surprise of that caregiver, when an attempt is made to get back into the workplace to find a job, there are so many companies who say, oh, how admirable that you left a career to care for elderly parents. Unfortunately, you don't have the skills to get a job today. We can't offer you anything. You've been out of the workforce so long, you are outdated. That is a struggle for many caregivers, and it's a realistic struggle. What happens then is that person, let's say it's a mother who has 3 children, she passes caregiving down from generation to generation to generation. The situation of the caregiver with her mother becomes the situation of that caregiver with her children, who then have to consider giving up a job or a career to care for her because she was out of the workplace so long that she couldn't save money. She couldn't earn a retirement income. This is that spiral of passing caregiving down from generation to generation to generation that, if at all possible, we want to start looking at. Are you in a family situation today where you have a multi-generational household? Maybe you have a parent or a grandparent living with you. You're living there with your spouse. Your children are living there, maybe even some grandchildren. This happens. In those situations, conversation should happen about, can we all pitch in to be the caregiver? Is it really necessary for somebody to give up their job and their career to be that primary caregiver? How do we manage this so that we're not passing down the primary caregiving responsibility from generation to generation to generation if we believe that generational caregiving is a good thing to do? These are so important conversations to have. Other concerns. Caregivers have health issues, both mental and physical. Statistics prove many of the caregivers, because of the stress and the anxiety and sometimes giving up a job and everything that we're talking about, become more sick than the person for whom they care. What happens then when that caregiver needs care and there's no income or money, or the person has been out of the workforce for so long that they struggle to find health insurance, and they have a lot of health issues that have been ignored because caregivers are not really good at self-care. Caregivers give up their lives. They sacrifice everything to care for elderly parents, and yet when they're sick, they can't take a day to go to a doctor's appointment. As a result, they become more sick, more ill than the person for whom they care for. And then what happens? That caregiver becomes the person who needs care. Tips for caregivers and aging adults are on my website about the idea of not passing caregiving down from generation to generation. You can join me for my weekly radio show. It is on Wednesday nights. It's called The Caring Generation. Podcasts are on my website. You go to PamelaDWilson.com, click on the media tab, scroll down to The Caring Generation, and all of the shows are there. Over 50 shows by now. Most of the topics come from people like you, from caregivers who visit my website, send me emails, join my caregiver group on Facebook. It's called The Caregiving Trap, and also who listen to my radio show. I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Please share this information with caregivers and other people you know, and begin to have those conversations about generational caregiving issues and passing down caregiving from generation to generation in your families. I'll see you soon in another video. Have a fabulous day today.